live like kings, but you'd rather die as a traitor. See all the pain you've caused. Open your eyes. Have you got any last words? I did it to survive.
Hi guys, thanks for joining me for this review of the latest creation from the brilliant minds at Group 14 called Open Your Eyes. If you haven't heard of this release yet, then hold on to your seats because the water is about to get rough. Open Your Eyes is a dark adventure based on real-world events of a rather unknown tale centred around an early 17th century ship called the Batavia. And it includes all the usual seafaring fun, such as mutiny, betrayal and murder, but not how you would really think. Perhaps surprisingly, this game has attracted a lot of attention due to its moral choice aspects. Now, I can imagine you all rolling your eyes saying, not another moral choice system. But believe me when I say, this will really redefine the genre. The story begins aboard the ship, already mentioned, the Batavia. You play as Garrett Jan Zoon, a cabin boy and the lowest member of the crew who has only one goal in mind, to survive. And let me tell you, you'll never feel so overwhelmed and underpowered in a game, and likewise invested in the success of a character. Right from the start, decisions have to be made and faction alliances start to form without any obvious feedback to the player. Diplomacy and intrigue are the name of the game, and alliances are made and broken as the stress of the journey increases, and loyalties are tested when mutiny is in the air. Most moral choice systems offer one of two polarised choices, of which the player can usually see the obvious long-term outcome, but playing this game might see you questioning your own morals. One of the key scenarios in the early phase of the games is you attempting to investigate a suspected uprising under Captain's orders, and while doing so, you get caught up in a group assault on one of the female civilians on the ship. Do you go along with it, hoping you might not be found guilty later? Do you refuse and risk being silenced by the mutineers? Be aware that the weight of your choices might not affect you until much later in the game, far beyond the point of reloading a save. But quick, better make a swift decision because the NPCs see your delayed responses as untrustworthy and might get startled and act out. Further to this, attempting to recant on a decision that you make at any point can very suddenly end in death, which is another key facet to the mechanics. The game conditions the player to fear the weight of every decision they make, no matter how seemingly insignificant. In Open Your Eyes, the NPCs are three-dimensional, remembering not only your previous interactions with them, but also altering their attitude to you based on your relationship with their network of friends. And things only get worse at the end of Act 1, where you are shipwrecked on a remote island with very little food and water, surrounded by friends, strangers, mutineers and civilians, and all your actions up to that point come back to haunt you. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? That said, don't feel so powerless. While in Garrett's shoes, you have the chance to influence one of many game endings, such as defeating the mutinous rebels with the soldiers and escaping on the rescue boat, or joining the mutiny and defeating the soldiers, avoiding both factions and somehow still surviving as a stowaway on the rescue boat, or even commandeering the rescue boat to begin your career as a pirate. Which will you choose?